Welcome to the Wednesday Call Live. Now let's hear it for our special guest host, Adam Katz and Alex Abian.
Hello, Alliance Nation. Adam Katz here from Wilmington, North Carolina, with my buddy Alex Abian, who is actually traveling the country this week. Happy Thanksgiving week to the Alliance. Happy Thanksgiving tomorrow to all our family and friends. A lot to be thankful for. I love this time of year. Weather's starting to turn a little chilly, at least in some places. Wilmington is still 72 degrees. It really reminds you of what we have our hands on and the opportunities that we have here. For those folks who have lived a different life, traveled the world, seen different things, been around the world and been around the country and seen different things and different opportunities. The fact that we're born in America, that's the number one thing to be thankful for, that we're here in America, the land of opportunity where we got a shot. Is it perfect? Ain't perfect. But compared to everywhere else in the world, oh my gosh, we are blessed to be here. And so that's the first thing to be thankful for. And then the fact that we were able to find the Alliance. How about the fact that we have an opportunity to be self-employed? We have an opportunity to be business owners. We have an opportunity to be entrepreneurs, that we can control our lives. We can design our destiny. How about being thankful for that? How about being thankful for the leadership of an Andy Albright that has a vision and a heart to guide us through the rocky times and to get us to the clear, smooth waters, that we have no excuses, that there's no reason for us not to be successful. You look at everything the Alliance brings to the table, between the lead programs, between the ARC and the CRM and our partner, our partner carriers and the partnership with Integrity. It's like, what else do you need? Do you need us to write the application for you and just ask you to sign it? We have opportunity galore. We get to write our own ticket. We get to design our own destiny. And how about being thankful for that? That we are here in 2025. We could have been born in 1025, where people lived to 14 years old and had to grow your own food and all of that stuff. But no, we're here in 2025 with AI and chat and cars and transportation and everything that we have going for us. And it's so easy to lose track of the little things that will distract us, that we lose track of the things we should be thankful for. And so we just wanted to kick it off. We have some excellent, wonderful guests here. Excited to be co-hosting with Alex Abian again. They apparently like us together, Alex, because I guess so. We must do a good job as working off each other and with each other. But we got a couple great guests here. Eric Evans from Fayetteville, North Carolina. We'll get him to introduce himself in just a minute. And also Pablo Troncoso out of the Baltimore, Maryland area. We'll get him to introduce himself as well in just a minute. But I wanted to just kind of kick off with kind of the theme of the call. What they posted, what the marketing team. How about being thankful for the support that the corporate office brings to the table? Tia Land in the marketing department. Robbie Kraft and Clay Murtis and President's Club and all that they do, LPT, partnership with Cindy. I mean, it boggles your mind that we don't have to put any of this stuff together. We didn't have to create ARC. We didn't have to create the CRM. We're not responsible for the maintenance of it. We don't have to negotiate the partnerships. We don't have to do all of those things. All of it is done. All we got to do is do our job. All we got to do is plug and play. And remembering that, I think, will help us have that attitude of gratitude. And the theme of the call is this: gratitude equals altitude. Okay. We've heard your attitude will determine your altitude. I think your gratitude will determine your altitude also. Because if I'm a thankful person, if we're thankful people, here's the one thing that we do. We see opportunities when they're made available to us. See, if you're always just kicking rocks and down in the dirt and always have your head down, if you're just like Eeyore, and just hanging out, and everything's bad, and everything's gloomy, and it's just, well, I guess I lost my tail again. If you have that kind of mindset and that kind of attitude where you think the world is against you, it's very hard for you to spot opportunities that are out there. It's hard for you to go and meet that person with a good attitude that could become the next superstar in your business, that can become the next friend for life, that can become a partner in your company. But because you're focused on what's going wrong instead of being thankful for the opportunities and the things that are going right. So a thankful person sees opportunities that other people don't see. Other people step right over these things. But if you have this attitude of gratitude where you're just happy to be alive, you're happy to be in business, you're happy to have a shot. That's what I wanted. I didn't want it to be easy. I just wanted it to be worth it. I didn't need it. I didn't need to be guaranteed success. I just needed to have a shot that if I was willing to do the things necessary, if I was willing to work and plug in and be coachable and make adjustments and be willing to put my, just stick my nose into the fight, that I had a shot of being successful. And that's everything that I could have asked for, and it's everything we have here. And maintaining that attitude of thankfulness, that attitude of gratitude, I believe really is what has enabled us to overcome different issues, to overcome the problems that we have in life. If you think my life is perfect, if you think Abian's life is perfect, if you think Albright's life is perfect, you are missing the boat on stuff, okay? We all got stuff going on. But it becomes a question of what are you focused on? Are you focused on the good things that are happening? Or are you focused on the one small issue? What does Andy call it? The turd in the punch bowl? You can focus on what you want to focus on. You can decide to focus on the agents you have that are working hard and having success, or you can focus on the one that quit last week. Well, why are you focusing on that? Why not focus on the good things that are going on in your business and figure out ways to maximize and exponentially grow the good things going on in your business? Because one thing I can tell you is this: your team is watching how you react to things. Your team is going to duplicate the attitudes that you have. And one thing we've learned is that your team will do about half of the good things that you do, half of the right things you do, and they'll do about 10 times the bad things you do. So you need to be doubly grateful to get your team to be just grateful. Okay, that's just the way the math works on it. And so understanding that, control what you can control. One of my favorite books is Andy Albright's Inside the Circle of You, because it totally puts you in the center, and it says you're responsible for your attitude and your activity. That's what you're responsible for. Everything else is outside your circle, so quit worrying about everything outside your circle. Okay, and control the controllables, and that controllable starts first and foremost at this time of the year, Thanksgiving. What are you thankful for? I think we finally broke my mom of this habit. She used to make us all go around the table and say one thing you're thankful for. We're not going to do that on this call. But goodness, and then as the family got bigger and bigger, it's just like, this is going to take forever. And you always want to go first because all the good stuff is taken early, and then you got to really dig deep to find stuff. So we're not going to do that. But it is the time of year that you should really take some I would encourage you to reflect, do some self-reflection. I know I'm going to do that. I know Beth and I, my wife Beth, been married 34 years. We're going to sneak away and we're going to talk about some things that we're grateful for as we're finishing up 2025 strong, and we're making plans for 2026. And this is just such a beautiful time of year for us to kind of have that mindset and to really reflect on all the things that have gone well for this year. And all the things that we want to do better going into next year. So I think that's one of the biggest things is just maintaining that mindset that I'm going to look for the good stuff. I'm going to look for the things I can be thankful for. The Bible says in all things give thanks. It's somewhere in there. I can't tell you which verse, and maybe you can probably tell you verse and chapter. I just know it's in there. In all things, give thanks. And people are like, in all things, give thanks. When you say all things, it's like attend all meetings. It's amazing how many people get confused by the word all. It's it's a small word, 3 letters, 2 actually. One is twice. All things, give thanks. Attend all meetings. If there's a meeting you're supposed to be at, you're invited to, then go to it. That's how you're supposed to run your business. But in all things, give thanks. So you mean if I get a flat tire, I'm supposed to give thanks for that? Well, that flat tire might have kept you out of a 5-car accident 6 miles up the road because you had to slow down and fix your flat tire. See, you don't know the bigger plan, so you can just choose to give thanks in everything that happens with you. It's a choice. It's a lifestyle decision of how do you want your life to be. How do you want to be positive and optimistic, or do you want to be one of those negative Nancys, those negative Nellies out there that just are always looking for the issue? I read this somewhere. I think this is a Brian Tracy quote. Maybe it's Zig Ziglar. But be an inverse paranoid. Be an inverse paranoid. Paranoid people think the world's out to get them. And that's how a lot of people choose to live their life. I choose to live my life as an inverse paranoid. I think the world is conspiring for my good. I think the world out there is conspiring for me to win if I'm willing to do the work necessary to win. And we've been blessed by some of the partnerships that we have in our business. This has been a beautiful year. I really do feel God's hand on our business. We have an unbelievable team. Our numbers are through the roof. The leadership team that we have, that we've been blessed to have put in our business with, down through Emily's organization, our daughter Emily's organization with Stella and Anthony Nwabuniki, that led to Jeremiah Adaki, and he's leading the country in production and income. And then, Jeremiah led to Bridget Emanim, and Bridget led to Ann Tendung, and Ann has led to Esther Umajeku. And I mean, we're 5 deep in regional managers. It's just crazy the growth that has gone on this year. And now we bring Eric Evans into the fold. And Eric was found by Dorothy McNair. Dorothy McNair, brand new and this is awesome, brand new agency manager, qualified this month as a qualified agency manager.
Wow.
So we're so proud of that and excited for that to be going on. And it's just such an unbelievable, it's a fun time to be in business. It's fun when you're winning. And it's easy to be happy and positive when you're winning. The key is to be more happy and positive, through the bad times as well, because we've been there too. And we always remember where we are, and we remember where we're going. So, Eric, if you will go ahead and unmute, I want to introduce you to just kind of, you talk about, Eric's only been around for a couple months now, but he brought 9 people to the NBC, the National Boot Camp. Not sure how many tickets he has sold for National Convention, but my guess is they're going to bring at least 20 to NatCon. And he's coming to the AIT next week. He never misses an opportunity to plug in. And because of that, his team doesn't miss opportunities to plug in. But Eric, if you would, real quick, introduce yourself, kind of give us, some snippets of your background, kind of how you found the Alliance, and what you see in the Alliance for your future, for yourself and your family.
Thanks, Adam. My name's Eric Evans. I'm from Fayetteville, North Carolina. Some things about me. Before I joined the Alliance, my upline, Dorothy McNair, she bugged me about life insurance, and coming from another company that I didn't do so well in. Told her I was never doing life insurance, but she just stayed consistent. And every day it's, Eric, come see what I got going. Come see what I got going. I need you to do this. I need you to do this. And then I finally made a decision to go with her to see Adam Katz. And on the day I was going to see Adam Katz, I said, trying to figure out an excuse to tell her not to go. But I said, no, I'm going to be a man of my word and go. And I'm going to let Adam know that I'm not going to do life insurance. Never knew who Adam was. I went in Adam's office, talked to him for a little bit, gave him a little bit of my background, and he asked me a few questions. And he got that fire coming back in my belly. I felt it. He said, I just felt like everything I did in the past with the life insurance industry was just a waste. All the books I read, all the conferences I attended, not really making money in a year. And he said, everything that you read, every conference that you attended made you the person you are today. And I said, all right, cool. 2 questions before I get started. Do I got to wear my family and friends out? He said, no, we do leads. I said, awesome. And do we do overrides here? He said, yes. I said, I'm in. So I'm truly grateful and thankful to Dorothy McNair and Adam Katz for bringing me in and coaching me to do this business. It's truly changed my life through the ups and through the downs. The downs I'm actually grateful for, because in all things we do need to give thanks per God. So got to listen to him. And some things I see for the future with me and my family in this business is just mind-blowing, mind-boggling. This is just something I can use, a system I can use to set my family free. And from where I'm from, in my family, it's not a lot of freedom. And I'm just truly excited that I got a passion back. You know, I feel like I'm somebody here. I love the camaraderie. I love you guys, and I'm just glad to be here. Thanks, brother.
Absolutely. And before I bring Alex and Pablo into this conversation, Eric, if you would just take another minute or two and talk about maintaining that mindset of being grateful and keeping your options open and your opportunities open, despite some of the things in your life. If you wouldn't mind sharing some of the things, because people are wanting to know, hey, Eric's off to a quick start. He's only been here a couple months. He's got people coming to conferences. He's doing those kind of things. He must have been perfect coming in. He must have had an easy life getting to this point. That's why he's able to grow fast. If you wouldn't mind sharing some of the things that maybe you've had to overcome in your life, your personal background, that you were able to fight through those things and still be grateful for future opportunities like we have.
Absolutely. So just a couple of the things that I had to overcome. Not gonna go too deep, but I do want people to know that this is something we're fighting for. Being prior military, having just seeing crazy stuff. It led to PTSD, which I had to overcome, not just in business, but with my family, and a lot of therapy. You know, I might be strong-minded, but I'm weak in a lot of areas. Like I'm a recovered alcoholic. I drank for years and years and years, and that was one of the biggest things I had to overcome. As a matter of fact, that's the reason I wasn't successful in past businesses, not just life insurance, but businesses I started. And I'm not perfect at all, but I did make a decision once that fire came back in Adam's office. I made the decision that I knew this was going to be what I used to set my family free, and I wasn't going to let anything stop me. I think that's one of the good things about me. You know, it's more a lot of bad and good, but I'm just focused, man. Like whatever I got to do, whatever Adam says needs to be done is going to get done, because he set his family free with this. Why can't I? And I'm not going to let my past define my future. You know, it's just memories to me. So my past is past, and my future is just looking awesome again. I'm truly grateful, Adam. Thanks for coaching me, brother.
That's awesome. Appreciate you sharing that. Alex Abuyuan, talk to us about what good is going on in the Abuyuan family and the Abuyuan business, and introduce Pablo to us.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. By the way, 1 Thessalonians 5:18, just if you were wondering. But anyway, hey gang, Alex Abuyuan here. I was brought into the business by Andy Albright back 25 years ago. Can you believe that, Adam? 25 years ago. We've known Andy like maybe 10 years even before that. So we've been brothers in this business even before the business for a long time. So dude, I am grateful for you, man. Back in the day when we were like trying to make it in that other business, in the Amway business, here we are, man. And I'm sure like you, thankful for the phone call, right? Thankful for the phone call. Hey, dude. That's the way Andy, he and I use that word all the time. It's our common word. Hey, dude, I think I got something. And it's like, whatever you say, bro, I'm in. We could be selling makeup. We could be selling whatever. If you're going to be doing something different than Amway, I'm with you. I mean, honestly, you could have said anything, Adam, and I would have done it because, you know, he's always shown me this attitude of being successful. And I just thank God he called me. You could have called a whole bunch of other people. By the way, my agent number is 000347. Adam, what's yours?
Mine is 000199.
Okay, so this is my little, I just have a little bit of 199 to 347. So there's some other people that maybe he called me by the time he got to me. But Adam, thank God he got to me, because now we're right like in the 500,000 number, agent number. So man, be grateful for anything. Like, I mean, even if it was, 599, 999, I'd be grateful that he called me, right? So anyway, so it's be thankful in all things. And I think one of the biggest things about being grateful is how it really smooths your emotions out. It's a choice, right, Adam? It's a choice. Your attitude is a choice. You can pick your attitude when you wake up. You can pick your attitude when something happens to you, and you decide. It's like inside the circle. That's one of the biggest emphasis is it doesn't matter what's going on in the world. It doesn't matter who's in office. It doesn't matter what the economy's doing. If interest rates are high, low, none of that matters, because that doesn't affect you more than how you affect you and how you react to it. In my life, it's what I decided to do when situations happen to me. Andy says this all the time, man. The growth in your business will be determined by your ability to handle negative. The greater capacity that you can deal with negative, the greater your business will grow. He tells me this all the time, Adam. I know he's told you this. Dude, if you knew what I had to deal with, if you knew, it's like, thank you, bro. I love you, because I'm glad you're dealing with it so I don't have to, right? I mean, that's one thing about Andy is, he'll do that. Plus, Andy is the example of how to handle negative. He is the example of gratitude in motion. Like, you can say you're grateful, but when you turn that gratefulness into action, I'll give you an example. Back in the day when the world crashed in 2008, we went from 2 million a month to, within a year, 275,000 in issue paid premium. Can you imagine? Like, with just a little over a year, went from 2 million issue paid a month to 275,000 in December 2008. And I called Andy. I said, "Hey, bro, do you got a plan for this?" He goes, "Plan for what?" I know how Andy works. Well, I mean, dude, should I be worried? He goes, "Bro, this kind of stuff happens all the time. I got a plan, bro. We're going to get back. Yeah. We're going to get back. This is just a test." And because he didn't panic, because he gave me the example of having an attitude of resourcefulness, an attitude of courage, an attitude that he was still grateful for being in this awesome insurance business. He's grateful for the lead program. He goes, I got a plan for leads, bro. Don't worry about it. Because back then we did mortgage protection. Well, you know what happened in 2008? The mortgage market went to zero. And while everyone was declaring bankruptcy and all the mortgage brokers were going broke, we were still making money in life insurance. And that's when Andy pivoted. He goes, I got a plan. Anytime Andy said, I got a plan, he always followed through. So by his example, it stabilized me. And then right at him, we just came roaring back like there was no tomorrow. We grew our businesses again, right? There's no comeback because we didn't go anywhere, right, Adam? I love when Adam says that. This is not a comeback. We were here all the time. And that attitude of stability, Andy knows how to put gratitude into action. And I am so grateful for him to do that. He says this all the time. We could be born anywhere, right? We could be born anywhere in the world. But we're born here in the United States of America, where there is freedom, where there's freedom to be who you want to be. And you have the freedom to make your world. You have the freedom to choose your attitude, to choose your action, to take advantage of this awesome thing that we call entrepreneurship. capitalism, free market, right? I'm a first generation Filipino. My parents came here. They served the country in the Navy. They retired from federal government. So they know what it's like to make things happen. And I just took that immigrant mentality and just ran with it because I didn't want to be a slave to a boss. I just was not meant to be a slave to a boss. Like imagine the world population is 7 billion people, right? 7 billion people. Now, if we're going to, let's reduce the 7 billion to 100. So let's say the world's 100 people. Do you know that 57 would come from Asia, 21 from Europe, 14 from North and South America, 8 from Africa. 51 would be women, 49 would be men. 68 of the 100 wouldn't even be able to read and write. 6 of those 100 would control or own 50% of the world's wealth. 5 of those 6 would be U.S. citizens. 3 of those 5 people would live on the same street on the North Shore of Long Island. 1 of those 100 people would just have been born. 1 of those 100 would just about to die. And 1 of those 100 would have been to college. 1. 1/3 of the world's population is dying from lack of bread. 1/3 of the world's population is dying from the lack of justice. And 1/3 of the world's population is dying from overeating. How was dinner last night? See, the whole beauty of being able to choose your attitudes of gratitude is understanding, gang, you were born here. You were born with the opportunity to worship freely, to protest freely, to vote freely, to practice your lifestyle freely. This is an awesome thing, and this is why you can control your world. Here's the thing. Because you can choose your attitude, you can choose how you think about everything you do. It's the idea of turning God, why am I going through this? Why are you making me blah, blah, blah? Why is this? I thought this insurance business was going to be the one business that was going to get me out of my junk. I was praying, right? I was praying, and Andy Albright called me. He said, "Hey, Bo, I think I got a business that we're going to be successful at." I was praying 2 weeks before my knees. Lord, help me find something that get me out of this crap I was in, right? And so this whole idea of reframing what happens to you into what can I learn from it? Like I'm going through this because I'm learning something from it. I'm going through this because it's going to make me tougher. I'm going through this because Andy Albright went through it. He learned how to deal with it. I'm going to learn how to deal with it. Hey, Andy, this is Alex. I'm going through this thing. How would you handle it? Every time he always had immediately the right thing to say. Always. I'm going through this because God is teaching me perseverance. The lesson I can learn from this situation is I'm growing from this because, and I tell you what, when your business goes from 2 million a month to 275,000, I am grateful. You know why? I'm grateful because I learned to depend on Andy Albright's vision for us when I wasn't even confident in the vision anymore. I learned that Andy always had a plan. I knew that if I followed the plan, I was going to come out even better. And boy, I have even better than what I thought it could be. It's crazy what we've been able to do in this business. And I know there are other people out there, you're wondering the same thing. Man, is this going to work for me? I thought this was going to be the business. Well, gang, we all have been there. I remember, Adam, coming back in the first year in the business, coming back from a series of no shows and no closes. It was late at night, and I was just mad. So I parked my car outside my house. I just, I was a failure. I felt like a failure. I felt like I didn't feed my family tonight. It's like, why am I doing this? And I just sat on the fender of my car. I looked up, nighttime, and I started yelling at God. God, why did you do this? I was screaming. I was crying. I was like in despair, right? And it's like, I thought this was what an answer to a prayer. This is a nightmare. And so I go into the house. At the time, we had 3 children. They were in the same room, kind of like a nursery situation. So I opened the door, I looked in on them. And, you know, as parents, you know how when you look in, just making sure children are breathing, you know, and there's just something about just looking at your kids. And I looked at Zoe, Athen, and Maddie, all in their toddler beds and one in a crib. And I just became grateful. Became grateful because God blessed me with these 3 children. And I looked at them with love from a father to his children. And then I thought, if I love my kids this much, how much does my Heavenly Father love me? And when that thought came to mind, God would never lead me into anything that couldn't be successful. I just realized that I didn't call on him for his help, for his guidance, for his courage, and reminding me that he gave me his son to die for me. If I'm worth that, God would never lead me astray. Then I thought, what is he teaching me? He's teaching me to remind myself that he's in charge, not me. He's God, I'm not. And the things I'm enduring is to help me become stronger, because if I've truly surrendered to him and his will, then I just have to trust. Just like those 3 kids in that room were trusting their daddy to take care of them, I know my Heavenly Father would take care of me, right? And that's what I learned by going through that. It totally changed the way I thought about everything. I just keep thinking about my Heavenly Father, look up on me just the way I was looking at my children. And to me, man, that got me through everything. Anything, I just always remember that moment. So anyway, Pablo, I'm going to introduce Pablo Troncoso. His team is rocking, gang. He will also be at AIT with one of his guys. And we're going to have some fun, because I'm excited to go out there. Going to see my buddy Adam at AIT, and I'm going to see Eric there. It's going to be jamming. And we got our talks. I cannot wait to give my 2 talks. I mean, it's going to be off the chain, gang. And Pablo's team is just blowing up like crazy. He's bringing in all these sharp people from different countries, Spanish speakers. You know, I mean, his business is blowing up. Then Pablo is just killing this month. He will probably be in RM qualification this month. It's the annuities and all the stuff he's doing. He's just rocking it. I can't be more proud of finding a partner. But listen, 2008 was not good for Pablo either. I want Pablo, you to talk about how you got through the junk back then. And you went through some serious stuff, and your story. So introduce yourself to the gang.
Yeah. So first of all, Alex, thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for, Adam said it right at the top of the call. He said, I just wanted a shot. So thank you for even the shot to maybe share a little bit of wisdom, value, and some lessons learned and still learning. But first of all, I'd love to give my gratitude. It's my turn at the table. So I'll give gratitude to God first and foremost. Definitely to Andy and Jane Albright for this opportunity, and certainly Alex, to you and to Ginny, for believing in me, for reaching out to me and giving me a hand, and believing me that I could do it. Right. As you were talking about it, the mentality and the negativity, I immediately start thinking like, hey, am I a worrier or a warrior? Right? As a father of 3 and as a husband to my wife now, we just celebrated 10 years. Am I a warrior or am I a worrier? Which one of those am I? Am I a victim or am I a victor? Right? Am I a whiner or am I a winner? And so, iron sharpens iron, 27:17, right out of Proverbs. Let's go. So I'm fired up about this opportunity, guys. And I will say this. I just turned 48 years old last month. And, you know, one thing I've learned about this business is that it's a business of second chances. This is a business of second chances. You know, and we need leaders. Everyone wants to be, you know, everyone wants to have a leadership position. They want to have, you know, the income that comes with leadership, and you know, you talk about these amazing you know, numbers that you're hitting, and it's like, well, I want that. But before we become a good leader, you know, John Maxwell taught us we have to be good followers. Like, I've got to be a really good follower before I can become a leader, right? And so people want to be leaders, but first you got to be a good follower. And here we go. So what I'd like to share, Alex, is maybe just a quick story, and with everyone that's on here, because I did learn that this was a business of second chances. But it was funny because that came to me this morning. I jumped in my car. I'm heading into the office like I do every day, except today. The kids are off school, so it was just me. So the radio pops on, and sure enough, there's one of my favorite songs. It's jamming, and I'm like, oh, but it was like halfway through, right? You know, it's a song that I love. It uplifts me. It inspires me. It reminds me not who I am, but whose I am. But I caught it halfway through, right? So you know the feeling. You ever do that, and you're like, gosh, I wish I could just start it from the beginning. And my son does this all the time. Like, we'll jump in the car, a song will be on, and he'll almost immediately get grumpy because he missed his favorite song. Well, thanks to technology, obviously, I just popped it in my phone in my app and started it from the beginning, and then I threw in the live version, right? You can appreciate that, Alex. I threw in the live version. And for my fellow believers and seekers out there, the name of the song is Holy Forever by Chris Tomlin, right? Don't go get it now, right? Listen to it after the call. But while you're listening to it, raise your hands high, and I tell you, it will bless you and fire you up. If not, you might want to check your pulse, okay? So I digress. So I had a second chance, right? I had a second chance to listen to the song that I love. And this business is just like that. And let me explain what I mean. So I was in the mortgage business, like Alex said, right? '08. It's crazy to think back of it right now. It's almost like it was a movie. Like it wasn't even real. I'm a recovering loan officer, right? I own my own branch, my own mortgage branch. And I thought I was on top of the world, you know, and I was crushing it until the '08 market crushed me. Right. So something I once heard that blew my mind, and guys, don't forget this, because I went through a lot, and I'm sure there's somebody on here that is going through a lot, is that your pain has been positioned for purpose. I'll say it again. Your pain has been positioned for purpose. Scripture says, consider it joy when you face trials and tribulations, because the testing of your faith produces, here it comes, perseverance, right? And that's straight out of Scripture. That's James 1:19. Now, have you ever been in a job where you didn't have as much control as you thought you did? Right? Have you ever been in a job where you're like, oh man, everything? So guys, I went from being a big investment, you know, having a big investment portfolio, to literally overnight having an investment broke folio. I went from being a real estate investor to being a real broke investor, right? And if you don't believe me, I brought receipts, Eric. I remember being at the end of my financial lifelines, and this is in '08. I went to the ATM machine to check my balance, pull out some cash. I think my bank account was with a company called Bank of America, maybe, and which was at the same time the same bank that had my mortgage. Right. So everything was tied together. And by the way, I was about 3 months behind on that. Right. So everything was crashing down. I was 3 months behind on my mortgage. And I remember about 10 grand left in my account. And thank God, you know, I didn't have a wife and kids. Obviously, that would have all unraveled. And so I had about $10,000 left in my account. I was going to pull out literally just $500 to have some cash to make me feel like, give me some sense of security. And I'm at the ATM machine, and it goes, bzz, bzz, try again, bzz, bzz, try again. Bzz, bzz. Come to find out, I didn't realize in the small fine print that it stated that if I had ever gone default on any of my accounts, it can garnish funds from my other accounts. Well, guess what? 3 months of mortgage late payments equaled to more than 10,000. So now, when I thought I had 10,000, I actually owed more money. Okay, so right then and there, in that very moment, I was broke and I was busted and I wasn't walking with the Lord back then. But I remember the only prayer that I had daily was that he would not let me wake up. But God had another plan. He wanted to give me my second chance, y'all. So for years, I worked a 9-to-5 job. I was in hospitality and technology. Guys, hospitality is tough. And I don't just mean like, waiting tables or, being a bartender. Like, I was trying to work up the ladder, and it is not for the faint of heart. And I just remember looking at my leader at that point. And I'm like, I don't want to be like that guy, right? He looks like 20 years old than he actually is. Marriage is falling apart. So again, I asked myself, have you ever been at a job where you didn't have as much control as you thought I did? So my second job was at this tech company. And that company was doing so well and got so big that eventually it just got bought out, and I got let go. Right, I was making 6 figures. I thought everything was going great. I had my wife and my kids, and now all of a sudden I got a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old at home. My wife is staying at home with the kids, and I was starting to go broke again. So bad that it got to the point. Check this out. One more receipt I'll share with you, and then Alex, I'll give it back to you. But I remember I was on the phone negotiating with the mortgage company for my loan payment. Right? What can we do? Can you help me out? And I was like, I've been through this before. Gosh, I got to go through this again. And I go outside because I was in like a cubicle. I was trying to, and I remember I go outside. I didn't want everyone to hear, so I was looking for I was going to go sit in my car to have a conversation with the mortgage peeps. Interesting, right? It was the company I was with, and as I'm distracted by the call, I couldn't remember where I parked. So I'm distracted on the call. I'm trying to negotiate. I'm looking for my car, walking around the parking lot, and that's when it hits me. My car got towed. Meanwhile, my wife is calling on the other line, and I'm not answering. I'm on the phone. Like, I don't have nothing to share with her that she wants to even know about. And so I finally get off the phone with the mortgage company. I call the car company, and guess what they say? They say it's going to be $1,400 to get my car back. I'll never forget it. But God had a plan. So check this out. I call my wife back, right? Like, I was so scared. I never felt so scared in my life. The first round, I didn't have anybody to call. This time I got to call my wife. I had to call the boss. And she, right off the bat, she's like, I got good news. And I said, well, I've got good news and I've got bad news. And she goes, well, you first. So I said, the good news is the mortgage company is willing to work with us and give us about an extra month and a half till we got to make our next payment. So I said, oh, that's great. What's the bad news? So the bad news is my car got towed and it's going to cost about $1,400 to pick it up. She doesn't say anything. Silence. I can hear her breathing. I'm like, honey, I can hear her sniffling. I said, honey, what's the good news? She goes, you remember that health insurance company I worked with before we had kids? Right? And this was like 3 years ago. I said, yeah, of course. I went to check the mail, and checking the mail wasn't a fun thing back then, right? And there was an envelope from them, and I opened it up, and it was some sort of like bonus check. For how much, guys? $1,410. Hot diggity. But God had a plan for my second chance, right? A pastor I remember once said to me, he said, Pablo, I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid of dying without having lived. And y'all, I wanted to live. I knew God was a God of second chances. And so just a couple short weeks later, I met Alex Abian through the 3-foot rule relationship. And the rest was history. The rest was history. And remember, I said the pain has been positioned for purpose. The Alliance gave me a way to live that out. You know, we could talk about numbers and all that stuff, but check this out. I kind of I rephrased that. Your pain has been positioned for purpose, absolutely. But if you do it right and you get to do it with the people you love and you get to do it in the organization that you work with, your pain has been positioned for profits. And really, that's what I'm here to help people do, man. And I'm just bringing people along with me, Alex. And gosh, we're having a good old time, man. I really appreciate you.
Gee, that was rocking, man. It was rocking. Tell you what, he always comes through, right? When you least expect it, expect it. That's why every day when I wake up, I dedicate my day to the Lord, because I know that He's in charge and He's large. He's bigger than me. He can handle everything. I don't have to handle anything when I have that desire. You know, look, Thanksgiving, you're going to be around family. You're going to be around positive family. You're going to be around negative family. And one thing about that attitude mindset is that you get to choose the battles that you fight. And as Adam knows, we steel ourselves mentally against the negative stuff. We don't get into it. Sometimes we feel like we have to defend ourselves, but at that point, we're not trying to convince anybody because we convinced ourselves. We don't got to convince anybody else. Let's just have a nice Thanksgiving dinner with our families. And when they say stuff like, "You still doing that insurance thing?" It's like, absolutely, brother. I'm fired up about it. Do you need some? You know, just shut them up with your positive attitude and your gratefulness that you got on this call so you can hear these stories of people that have been through exactly what you're going through. Before I turn it over to Adam to close it out, I want you to kind of think about that notion that, you know what? It's not about what happens to you, it's what you do about it. And I think that when you approach everyone and everything out of love in your heart and the gratefulness that God, the creator of the universe, made you and broke the mold. There's only one you. He made you for a purpose, for a reason. He made you unique. And what he's trying to remind you is the reason why you're in the Alliance is because you're going to be around people that will have you realize how awesomely unique you are. And you can spread that uniqueness to the world because God needs you to be the best you need to be. And that's why you go through stuff, because he's honing you and he's chiseling the statue of greatness out of you by putting you through stuff. And so here's my prayer for you is really the prayer of St. Francis. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we're born to eternal life. Amen. That's my prayer for you. Adam Katz, take it away, brother. Close this out.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, guys, just a couple things as we're winding this up. We're gonna be give you gratitude that we're gonna finish early on this call. Also, we know a lot of folks are traveling today and hitting the road or getting ready to hit the road, things like that. So, but just a couple things to think about. I loved what Alex was talking about. As you're with family, we call them SNIOPs. SNIOPS, which is susceptible to the negative influence of other people. But you have a choice. You just choose not to engage. Smile, shake your head, and just let it go in one ear, out the other. See, that's the control we have. And knowing what we got our hands on and knowing we are going to win because it's up to us. If it's going to be, it's up to me. And if it's up to me, then I'm not going to quit. So therefore, I'm going to win. I don't know when I'm going to win. The time frame may be undetermined, but if I don't quit, we have 100% success rate with people who don't quit. Okay, so just make that mindset and don't allow negativity at the dinner table tomorrow. Don't engage. You have that choice. Just smile. You agree with them. That's what I love. Nothing frustrates a negative person more than just agreeing with them, because you give them nowhere to go. You give them nowhere to go. So watch out for the sniops as you're hanging around some of that distant family or the close family that's just trying to save you from getting your hopes up. And I'm just one of those guys that's just like, if you don't have hope, what do you got? Because hope is what's going to drive your decisions. If you don't believe it's going to work, you're not going to do anything. For me, I always wanted my hopes up, and they mean well. They just don't understand what it does. But you understand what it does. So keep your hope high. Don't allow them to distract you from what you're doing. Enjoy the day tomorrow, but understand it's just a day. Also, as you think about the mindset that you should have going through this Thanksgiving holiday, it's Thanksgiving Day. Okay. Tomorrow, spend the day with your family. Enjoy it. Friday is the biggest shopping day of the year in these United States. Okay. You understand, we are retail outlets. We retail life insurance. We retail annuities. We retail Medicare. We retail the different product lines that we have. Why would every other business be open when people are smiling and spending money like crazy? What better present can they give their family than protection, than pom-pom, plenty of money and peace of mind? And so understand, after Thanksgiving Day on Thursday, you got Friday, and Friday is a day of business. So having that Thanksgiving season mindset of now's not the time to shut down. There are some people who are taking the opportunity to shut down their lives from now till January 2nd. They're just on cruise control from now to January 2nd. You know what I see with the Alliance? I see December has always been one of our biggest months for a couple reasons. One, because people are wanting coverage. People are thinking about love. They're thinking about family. They're thinking about, they're happy. They're in that season mindset. And then the other thing is this: we got a lot of agents trying to qualify for the trip to Thailand. And they know that they're down to December 31st as a deadline. And it's amazing what people can accomplish in the last 5 weeks of the year. If they would have accomplished that the first 5 weeks of the year, they wouldn't have to worry about it the last 5 weeks of the year. But hey, we are procrastinators. That's our human nature. And so that's what we do. So understand that mindset as we go through this holiday season, that we should be after it, and that let other people just be on cruise control. But we're going to turn it up. I read this in a Dave Anderson book. I forget the name of the book. It's something about waves or something. Alex, you may remember the name of it. But it talks about this gratitude. It talks about loyalty. To show gratitude. If you truly are grateful for the Alliance opportunity, if you truly are grateful for the people who are coaching you and mentoring you, if you truly are grateful for this great opportunity that Andy Albright has set up for us, the way you show it is with your work ethic and your drive. See, you can't be loyal and not grow. That used to kill me. You talk about straight arrow to the heart, because we had some times in our business where we were flat, stagnant, and it wasn't that I wasn't trying. We just weren't getting traction. And one of the things I pride myself on is loyalty to the team, loyalty to the system. And I just felt like when I read that in that book, it's just like growth means, growth shows loyalty. Growth shows gratitude. You owe it to them to show it to them. And understanding that you control your work ethic, you control your calendar. So, Eric, as we're wrapping up this call and we're rolling towards the last 5-6 weeks of the year, talk to me a little bit about what your work ethic. How are you planning to show your gratitude over these next 5 weeks with your calendar and your work ethic, and owing it to the people around you? That your 3-foot rule meet, and then just the people, your family and friends and people that how you're going to show that gratitude by showing it with work ethic.
Thanks, Adam. First and foremost, I will not be taking tomorrow off. I'll be eating a lot of food, but I'm going to try to sneak a policy in. And the only time I will take a break is during AIT, but we're still going to try to get some things going. One thing I know about my team and my growing team is that they follow me because I lead from the front. So I'm going to continue to run my 20 appointments a week. I'm going to continue to recruit 3 to 5 people direct a month and try to do 10 in my organization with the people I recruit direct. And I know my people are going to follow me. I mean, it's just the results are going to be there, and we're going to make it happen.
So yeah, and by the way, AIT counts as work. Trust me, you're going to be working next week. I've seen the agenda. You are going to be working next week. It is called the Albright Intensive Training. Highlight the word intense. Andy is going to he's going to make sure that you are that's one of those slow down to speed up type things where you go for a week of training to so that you can take the next 6 months and blow the doors off this thing. So fired up about that. Fired up to see you guys there next weekend. Pablo, same thing for you. Kind of how as you're finishing up the year, work ethic wise, calendar wise, what say ye in terms of how your gratitude is going to fuel your work ethic?
Well, I love that you said, hey, the best way to show our loyalty is by, our work ethic and what we're doing. And that's something I had to work on, right? Because for a long time I got real used to just, getting paid by the man, a check, and now all of a sudden everything flipped again. And I own my own business. But for me, man, like Eric said, I will be working tomorrow. I'm actually going to a Friendsgiving event. We're not hosting, and it's like the first year we're not, but there's going to be 30 people. Some I know, some I don't. And guess what? Like, I'm going to represent. I'm going to say, hey, it's so awesome to be together. So I'll be looking at family and what's important to them. Same thing tomorrow, Friday, I'll be here as well. I'm turning on some more recruiting opportunities. I've turned on additional production opportunities. Heck, after AIT, so we'll all be down there together for that. That Saturday, I'm driving. We're driving back with Alex, and Alex is. We're putting Alex up in our home for Friday night, and then Saturday morning we're getting right back at it and hosting a hotspot out here in Columbia, Maryland. So we're not stopping. We're not stopping. We're not looking to talk to people about what their goals are. We're looking to talk to people about what is the vision, what is the mission, right? And from that, when we finally get those, we can talk about your goals, because goals are nothing without the foundation and the values behind it. And man, what an amazing team to be able to do this with. Yourself, Adam, Alex, Andy. I mean, everyone on here, and we're just fired up. So I hope that you can follow that lead. That these guys have set an amazing example for.
Absolutely. That's awesome, Pablo. And having a plan, that's half the battle. But I love what Mike Tyson says also, which everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. So having the plan and then making sure that you're adjusting the plan accordingly to how things are going. I would just remind everybody this as I wrap up this, and then I'm going to turn it over to Alex for final words. Remember this. You get to choose your attitude on a daily basis. You get to choose whether you're happy. You get to choose whether you're grateful. You get to choose whether you're focused on your future or whether you're mired in the past. You get to choose whether you're going to be a meaningful specific in other people's lives or just a wandering generality in the world. You get to choose whether, as Benjamin Franklin says, you're one of those people who die at age 25 and it just takes 50 years for your body to catch up because you stopped dreaming, you stopped achieving, you stopped going for things. You get to choose that on a daily basis. And look, if you didn't win yesterday, that's okay. Today's a new day. And the beauty of it is this: every day is a clean slate, and you get to choose on a daily basis what I'm going to do, what my attitude is going to be, and what I'm willing to sacrifice for the victory that I want for myself and my team and my family. We like to call it win the day. Go out there, make sure that you're winning the day. Mr. Abian, if you would wrap us up, please, with some final thoughts. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for Jenny and your family. I'm grateful for this Alliance family. And man, I look forward to the next 25 years of doing life together with the Abian family and with the rest of this Alliance team.
Absolutely, brother. Well, again, I'm so grateful for Andy and Jane for picking me out of the rag heap of job slavery. And I was praying for that opportunity. God answered the prayer. And when God answers a prayer, that's my turn, right? My turn to step up to what God expects of me, right? Because it's not an easy road, right? The road to success is always uphill. And he gave us the friends and the people that love you and the Alliance that are there supporting you every step of the way. And we ask you to lean on us, but lean on him who made you and his vision for you. And know that when you surrender to the system, you surrender to the people that are helping you, and when you finally trust that you're in it with the right people at the right place at the right time, then it's a matter of doing the work. And when you do the work, you will be rewarded. And many times it'll be way better than what you thought. And the help will come from places that you didn't even know existed that will help prop you up and move you forward. And when you look back on like I look back the last 25 years, it's like, thank you, Lord. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to the next 25, like Adam said. And so Alliance family, we love you. We are grateful to you. We are thankful that Andy and Jane Albright put a system together where we can thrive with each other, for each other. And here's the last thing that I would say. If you really want to know what gratefulness is all about, come to National Conference, third weekend in January. Be there, whatever it takes to be there. Plane tickets are pretty cheap right now. In fact, book your plane ticket because they're really cheap. Get your ticket to the convention. But I promise you, you will see everything that we're talking about on this call will be the culmination at National Convention. You'll see the success stories. You will feel and trust that everything is what we said. But more importantly, you will trust yourself that you're in the right place, right time with the right people. So Alliance family, God bless. Thank you, Adam Katz. I love you, man. Pablo and Eric, you guys rocked it. Thank you, Andy and Jane Albright. God bless everybody. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
.com.
Right
Thank
on.
you, Alliance.